Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I decided to speak on the long-awaited topic of how I was able to live in Japan with no visa. Let me state this. I did not move there permanently. I only went to Japan for a short-term tourist visit. So basically, when you do enter Japan, you need to have a tourist visa regardless, but that is the most simplest thing you sign up for before entering the country, and that will give you a 90-day period where you're able to live in Japan or just be a tourist and explore around the country. So I don't recommend passing over that 90-day limit or trying to take advantage of that in any specific way. I definitely was a tourist. I did not work there while I was there, but we're gonna jump into all of the specifics when I answer some questions, because I did have a couple questions that a lot of people asked me. So let's get right into it. Let's talk about traveling there and how to even get there. So obviously I caught a plane, and I think the first time I flew with American, but the second time I believe I flew with Delta. And honestly, Delta is pretty nice. American was good as well, but I think my experience flying back home with Delta was just superb. That trip inspired me to fly with them again, wherever else I did plan to go to. The best flight path really just depends on where you're traveling from, but since I traveled from Florida, I believe I had a layover in Houston or somewhere in Texas. Let me see. Not Houston. So I actually had a layover in Fort Worth, Texas. Then I flew from Fort Worth to Haneda. But my second trip going to Japan, that's when I flew with Delta, and I flew to Atlanta, all the way from Atlanta to Tokyo. It's kind of crazy. That's a long flight. But yeah, that flight was I think both flights were about 13-14 hours. So be prepared to watch movies, take a nap, do whatever you gotta do, because it's a long flight. And honestly, flight hours is 13 hours on the plane, but really when you think about layover and just going through TSA and everything, it really is almost a full 24-hour travel day. If you ever plan to travel to Japan, make sure to have a whole day allotted just for travel and resting and catching up on that jet lag, and even maybe an extra day just in case any flights are pushed back or something happens, because one of my flights actually ended up getting delayed and my trip did not get pushed back by 1 day. It got pushed back by 3. So yeah, but thankfully we had like a long trip my first time visiting, so it didn't really interfere too much where we weren't able to see everything we wanted to see. Be prepared for a long travel day. Some people were concerned about turbulence, and when I'm on a plane, turbulence to me is basically a good thing. It means that the plane is able to withhold through all of the strong winds, and I just act like I'm basically in Jello. One of my favorite creators, I think it was Anna Paul, that mentions you're basically in Jello or something like that, and I feel like I never really sweat turbulence. My biggest fear is mainly taking off and landing, because turbulence, really, that's supposed to happen. You're literally in the sky and going 500 miles per hour with winds blowing against you the opposite directions. Turbulence is bound to happen. My biggest concerns are always praying we land safely and takeoff is okay. So yeah, I don't really think I ever sweat turbulence. Someone asked me why I went to Japan, and I spoke a little bit about it in my last video. You should go check it out. But I did study Japanese. That was my first trip. My first trip was to study Japanese and immerse myself really into the culture. And so then I did a second trip. My second trip was my 3-month-long trip, where I decided I just really wanted to see if I really wanted to move there permanently and just travel to other like Southeastern Asian countries. In South Korea, I definitely wanted to go to. I ended up going to Bali. I went to Okinawa. So I just wanted to stay in Tokyo to be able to travel to other nearby countries. I ended up not even leaving Tokyo as often as I planned originally though on my second trip, because I just fell so much in love with Tokyo itself. But yeah, I just went the second time to really travel and see other countries near Tokyo in Asia and Southeast Asia. I also just wanted to reconnect with friends that I met the first time and really enjoy the experience and see things that I did not get to see the first time I went, because even though I went for a month, that was not enough for me to see every single thing I wanted to do. So I was just like, let's just go. Someone asked me about food, and honestly, I love the food in Japan. I think my favorite food is, I'm not trying to butcher it, but yes, tonkatsu. So that's basically like breaded beef, and you put it on a stone slab that has a fire underneath it, and you cook it to your liking, and that is just glorious. It's really good. That was one of my favorite treats. I think another favorite was ramen for sure. I went to this one place called Areru. You know what? I'm not even gonna butcher that either, but I went to this place and that was literally my favorite. I would go there every other night after the club or after shopping, because they have some that are 24 hours. So that was my favorite spot. And when it came to American food, they definitely also have a lot of pizza. That's not American, but they did have pizza and burgers. Everything was really good. I can't complain. The only thing I really love is actually Cuban food and a lot of Spanish culture dishes. They did not have a lot of that, I would say. They did have tacos, but every time I got tacos in Japan, it didn't really hit the same. But so that was one thing I did miss, the Cuban Spanish food that I would always get down here, especially since I'm from Florida. I feel like I always get a lot of Spanish food, but everything else honestly hit the spot. You can't go wrong with the sushi, the ramen, even the pizza. Like everything just hits great there. So someone asked me how was shopping over there. Honestly, I kind of did not like shopping in Tokyo or in Japan. No. I liked shopping in Japan. Who does not? But I didn't like it in Tokyo so much. I feel like I ended up buying a lot more stuff in Osaka because it was better priced and they had more variety of clothes. I feel like I got these jeans, these Evisu jeans in Osaka. They're so cute. So I got a lot more stuff in Osaka than I did in Tokyo. And Tokyo is a really good spot for shopping too, but you have to be into certain types of styles to really enjoy shopping there. So some things I did get, and it was cute, but if I was to wear that here, I don't really care what people think, but you definitely would stand out wearing certain things here. Not only certain styles I didn't like that they had in Tokyo that was very prominent, but the sizing definitely threw me off. A lot of people do say their clothes are pretty small in Tokyo, but honestly, I'm like pretty petite. I'm only 5'3", so I do fit a lot of their standard clothing, but some items I got and I'm like, guys, I got these one pair of pants because I desperately needed a black pair of just pants, and it was cut so weird on my ankles, and I'm like, it's probably because of my height, or I don't know, it just didn't fit me properly. So I have very mixed emotions about shopping in Japan. But when it comes to vintage shopping, you can't go wrong, honestly. They have a lot of good vintage items, especially in Shimokitazawa, so that's one of my favorite spots. It might be a little pricey, but they definitely have some hidden gems in Shimos. Like I said, I have very mixed feelings, but that's when it comes to clothing items. Everything else, like souvenirs for your friends and family, action figures, what else? Oh my gosh, I got my friend this one gift. What is it called? I forgot what it's called. I'm gonna find that later, but it's like a little toy and it is so cute. But yeah, they just have really cute gifts to bring back home, and I have like so much stuffies. Like, the little toys are so stinking cute. I have this. You don't even want to see the Hello Kitty collection I built over there as well. So I absolutely adore Hello Kitty. So I got a lot of that over there. They have a good wide range of things that you can buy in Tokyo. Like, even for my camera, I ended up buying a couple of SD cards and equipment because it's kind of cheaper there than it is here. So I took full advantage of that in Akihabara. Akihabara is known for like the techie, gaming, photography, all that electronic stuff. So definitely check that place. They also do have a lot of anime and like stick figures and stuff like that. One important thing when you're shopping in Japan is to make sure you have your passport, because every time I went actual shopping and I bought a purchase like my onisukas, I was in line, I was on a hunt, okay? I'm on a hunt.
What?
I need that.
Whoa.
I want that.
Yeah.
I have that. I gotta have that. I was on a hunt for my onisukas because I went to one store in Harajuku and they did not have it. So I ended up going to Shibuya and they had it, and I finally found the exact shoe I wanted and everything. But I forgot my passport. So I ended up having to pay the full price, but they heavily discount items for you if you have your passport on you. So definitely always carry that around when you do go shopping. So I'm going to talk about culture shocks now, because a lot of people want to see exactly if I was like shocked by anything, or what differences they had compared to America, I guess. And I want to say I was completely shocked, but you can tell there is absolutely a difference in the way people act and behave and go on their everyday lives than they do here. So one culture shock I would say is definitely seeing everyone always in their best fit every single day. That is my absolute favorite. Or even if it's a basic fit, at least they look very presentable, okay? Their hair is cut, their face is nice and fresh. Everything is just well put together. I really couldn't say anyone I saw in public looked bad. So I really love that, because honestly there was not a day I stepped foot outside in Tokyo in my pajamas or like in sweatpants and just didn't really care about how I look, because I feel like that's kind of normalized here in America. Like, people just will go out in a hoodie and sweats or something very basic, but over there, like, even if you looked basic, you still just looked your best. I don't know. So I loved seeing everyone look in tip-top shape. Like, it was just beautiful seeing creative people put together really nice outfits, and that kind of really inspired me to look my best every day. You know, like, I never want to step foot outside of my house not looking in tip-top shape. When you're walking, I feel like walking in Japan, you walk on the left side. You walk on the left side of the sidewalks or the escalator. like you stand on it so other people on the other side can walk up a bit. They are very directional and have order. They're very orderly. I really appreciate that, because when I visited New York recently, it was chaos trying to like just go through the crowds and the masses. So I kind of appreciate that they have certain walking paths, not even walking paths, but just like everyone has this general knowledge. You're on this side of the sidewalk and I'm on this side of the sidewalk, okay? So I really appreciated that. But I have to say, like, this isn't a culture shock, but I did appreciate how nice and helpful people are. I feel like a lot of people expect Japanese people to be shy, and what I experienced was a lot of kindness and helpful people trying to help me find wherever I need to go or whatever I need, especially if they know you're a tourist, because they will know you're a tourist. Okay. A lot of people also ask me, are they rude and are people mean? Honestly, no, they're not. I had some interactions, I will not lie to you. Maybe I'll make another video on that. I did have some people be quite nasty to me, but you know, that's anywhere. People are gonna be rude to you anywhere in the world. That's expected. Some people are just not the greatest, so. But in general, as a whole, I feel quite welcome and everyone was pretty nice to me. So that's also my own perspective. So you never know what other people are experiencing in Japan. So yeah, one culture shock was like, low-key, some restrooms did not have soap. So that was a little concerning. Or they would not have paper towels. But I feel like maybe people carry hand sanitizer on them. I don't know what the deal is over there. Like, majority restrooms did have it, but the ones that didn't, I'm just like, so do I just rinse my hand with water? I don't know, but I don't know. But kudos to them for not really indulging in paper towel waste and stuff. I don't really mind that. Like, yeah, save the trees. We don't need paper towels, honestly. But the soap thing, I don't know. People are probably wondering, how do you afford all of that? Traveling and all this other stuff in Japan and staying there 3 months. I kind of get that asked quite often, and I don't really like sharing expenses or anything money-wise, because I feel like it's a very private matter, and especially when people ask me how much did you budget for your trip or how much did you spend, I feel like no matter what I tell people, it's like, that is my personal expenditure, so it's not going to align exactly with how much you want to spend, because everyone has their own desires and budget and preferences, because some people like to travel very luxuriously and some people don't care for things that are not as luxurious or whatever. I'm not really going to share the exact details, but this is how I was able to travel. I genuinely just saved up my money. I've seen some people say they just put it all on a credit card and booked their trip and now they're in credit card debt. Please don't go down that route. Or even if you do book your trips with a credit card, get a travel credit card and pay it off. If you do not have the money already, I feel like you should not be buying things that you can't afford in the present, because then once your trip is over, you're gonna be stuck in a hole trying to pay that back, and that's probably not as fun as just, you know, like waiting for your time to come and saving up and then enjoying the trip. And once you're done with your trip, you have nothing to worry about. You don't have no debt. So I just saved up over a couple years. Even after my first trip, I knew I needed some more funds, so I worked really hard, and I just saved up everything. I was very frugal. I made sure not to spend on like silly little things. Every time I get paid, I literally just put a certain amount into savings and don't even look at it. So yeah, that's really my answer for that. I just save up. I'm really good with not spending on unnecessary things I don't need because I know I want to travel. So it's really all about sacrifices and knowing what you want to do with your own funds. However, I will say also, for being in Japan, the yen is already weak, so your money kind of stretches a little farther. But compared to other Southeastern Asian countries, Japan is actually kind of still up there. Like, a lot of things are basically American prices, but some things you can get away with and it is cheaper than the American dollar. This is kind of like culture shocks too, but people ask how was I treated. And honestly, I don't think I was treated differently in a bad way, but most people were accepting. But when you do go out in the rural countrysides, that's when people tend to stare at you more. Like when I went to Mount Fuji or Kyoto, more rural areas that's not really the city, people will stare at you. Even in Tokyo, people stare, but I don't really take offense to it because people are curious. At the end of the day, you are a foreigner. They will know you're a foreigner no matter if you're black or white or whatever. You're not Japanese, so you're a foreigner. And they're just curious, so they will look at you and pique their curiosity. They want to know what's going on around their presence. I can't really say I never felt unsafe. I felt pretty safe the majority of the time I was there. So I think it's a great country to solo travel. That's why I went back the second time, because I was debating between Europe and Japan, and I was like, Japan seems completely safer than Europe will ever be, like, by myself. And I feel like Europe is also more fun with friends and family. So I was like, Japan, I can make friends solo dolo. Plus I already had friends there, so yes. I think Japan is pretty safe and a warm and welcoming country, especially in the international bubble that they have there. You're bound to meet another traveler that wants to make friends as well. Someone asked me would I move there permanently, and I mean, after living there for 3 months and like traveling to other countries nearby, I would say I don't think so. I really was thinking I would, but considering you need a work visa and I would never want to like overextend my stay and like go against their rules, the only potential jobs that they had were working as a teacher, and personally I just don't think that's fit for me. I do have my bachelor's, so I have a degree, but the job opportunities in my field weren't really abundant, so for foreigners I guess. And I've been looking and like, if I have to live there permanently as a teacher, I just don't see that fit for me because I don't want to be a teacher. So I'm definitely gonna visit again, but I don't think I'm gonna live there permanently, but you never know, maybe one day. We'll see. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I think that will be all the questions I'm answering today. However, maybe I will do a part 2 on some other questions that I get asked, or if I have any more ideas that I left out in this video. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next one.